everyone, and welcome to Tuesday's Tips with Lauri. I'm excited to share with you today a lot about raw edge applique and how it plays part with SVG files. So today we're going to talk about, we've got lots of our projects that have both raw edge and regular applique in them together, really. And so we'll start over here, and I'm going to just kind of show you the difference between the two so that when we start talking about raw edge versus regular applique, you've got an understanding of what I'm talking about. So if you'll follow me over here to the Lucky Pillow, this is our Luck of the Gnomes pillow, and we've had a lot of questions about that. And as you can see, this particular piece is raw edge applique because it's got this raw edge that you've cut away, and the label right here next to it, this is not a raw edge applique. This right here is a regular applique because it has a stitch that covers the raw edge. So that's really how you'll tell the difference whether it's a raw edge applique or not. And then with our Citrus and Sunshine, that's right here, I think every single piece of this is raw edge applique if it has an applique. So because of that, there are no SVG files that come on the Citrus and Sunshine CD. So as you can see, and we're going to demonstrate a little bit more with these cute slice, I love these slice zippered pouches. They're so cute. And as you can see, the raw edge applique applies to the actual little inside, the fruit, if you will, of the limes and the grapefruit. And then over here, we have the pillow. It's called Partly Cloudy. And this also uses the raw edge applique. And so it gives it more of a red work, art looking design, and I love this. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful type of technique. I really do like the raw edge applique. And most of you probably will recognize these last two, the Nativity Ornaments. As you can see here, we've got a comparison. So around the angel wings, it has been cut work, but it's covered with a thick stitch, kind of like you would with an applique. And then right next to it is the raw edge applique. So all of the wise men there, those are all raw edge applique technique right there. And then also on our Vintage Boardwalk, we have both types as well. We've had a lot of questions about that. For example, the soda pop bottle is raw edge applique, and for example, the flip-flops are not. The flip-flops have an SVG file because they have a coverage stitch. So now that we've kind of shown you a little bit of both, and as you can see, there's a lot of products out there that we have that use both the raw edge and the regular applique. So to start with, I'm going to show you the difference in the technique or the way that it's put together. So to start with, if you had an SVG file for our little flip-flop, you would have already cut that out, and you would have done the placement line, okay? Then when you go to attach that SVG, the file or the cutout that you've already made, you can attach it right inside and you line it up the best you can. But the best part about that is when you see the satin stitch coming around, I left some of the satin stitch undone so you could actually see right here where you can see that it's outside and then it goes right to the edge, and then there's an inside line. So that gives you a little bit of coverage. So there's coverage depending on whether it's placed exactly or not exactly, but there is coverage that covers it so it looks like it's perfectly aligned and you've got it down, okay? But when you're working with the raw edge applique, you can see here, this raw edge applique, it is tacked down and then it's trimmed. So the fabric extends past the actual original placement line. Once the fabric's placed, as you can see here, then it's trimmed. Now, the reason we don't do SVG files for this technique, and I'll show you here, this is what I tried. I tried to do it without it. This is what I ended up with. It's very difficult to place the SVG file exactly in the right location and catch it evenly on all sides. So, for example, I just had this taped down. If this were my placement line and I I attempted to make an SVG file here for this, and I were to place this, no matter how I place it, I can't really see where my guidelines are. So I'm might be slightly off. And when you're slightly off with a raw edge applique, you can see it makes all the difference. See, this should have been scooted over and down a little bit, and then it would have caught this correctly. So this is one of the main reasons that there are not SVG files associated with raw edge applique, because it's really too difficult to get those perfectly lined up. But I do want to give you a little bit of tips on how to trim raw edge applique, because we have a lot of questions about that too. So the raw edge applique, right here, it does a triple stitch when it's tacking it down, and that way it's really good and secure. All right, so then what I do is I like to lift my fabric up at a 90-degree angle and keep your scissors flat. Don't try to cut it at an angle like this, or you're going to cut too close to those stitches. So keep your scissors flat and pull this up at a 90-degree angle. The reason you pull up to the 90-degree angle is it gives you that extra little edge right there that you need, and you can get an exact edge all the way around by following this same technique. And I'm going to just finish cutting right there. And as you can see, that cut almost exactly even around the outside edge. So I'm going to do it one more time up here at the top. And I really would highly recommend, you can use this with duckbill scissors, with your nippers. Be careful, because your nippers can get really close as well. Just make sure you keep them flat out like this, and it will automatically give you that extra that you need. And as you can see, that's what happened. Now, the next question that we get a lot about is the vinyl. Now, the vinyl that's placed on top of these, it is also a raw edge applique. This one it just stitches around the outside with a triple, and you cut the vinyl the same way you would the fabric. Always lift it up 90 degrees and keep your scissors flat. That way you don't accidentally nip any of your stitches. Also, one other thing to note with this is the half slice coin purse. Right here goes through, and it will stitch all the way around all of these, and then it does an outside stitch. You only are trimming away the outside, the very outside. And that is all there is to the vinyl. So I hope that that answers several of your questions that we've had on SVG files with raw edge applique. Do we have any questions?
We do not have any questions.
Wow. Well,
there was one about the glitter sheet.
Yes, you can use a glitter sheet. That's a great question. The glitter sheet is this one right here. The glitter sheet we use very often with raw edge applique, as well as our leather. Our crab over here on the Vintage Boardwalk is also raw edge applique, and it's used with the leather. And that turns out just as a really fun, different type of technique. But I love that it's used with that. But yes, I happen to use fabric here. You can use glitter. You could mix it up if you'd like.
Do you trim the glitter sheet the same way?
Exact same way. I trim the glitter sheet the exact same way, and then you iron or press the glitter sheet down. Do we have any other questions?
We don't.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next Tuesday.